Good morning, children. Welcome back to Biology class, Chapter 13 Organisms and Populations. Our living world is fascinatingly diverse and amazingly complex. We can try to understand its complexity by investigating processes at various levels of biological organization like macromolecules, cells, tissues, organs, individual organisms, population, communities, and ecosystems and biomes. Now we have to discuss about what is ecology. It is a subject which studies the interactions among organisms and between the organism and its physical abiotic environment. Ecology is basically concerned with the four levels of biological organization, that is organisms, populations, communities and biomes. Biomes. In this chapter, we explore ecology at organic and population levels. Organism and its environment. Ecology at the organismic level is essentially physiological ecology, which tries to understand how different organisms are adapted to their environment in terms of not only survival but also reproduction. You may have learned in earlier classes how the rotation of our planet around the sun and the tilt of its axis cause annual variations in the intensity and duration of temperature, resulting in distinct seasons. These variations, together with annual variation in precipitation, it includes rain and snow, account for the formation of major biomes such as desert, rainforest and tundra. Now, biome distribution with respect to annual temperature and precipitation, just you can watch in the picture. Regional and local variations within each biome led to the formation of a wide variety of habitat. Major biomes in India. On planet Earth, life exists not just in a few favorable habitats, but even in extreme and harsh habitats like scorching Rajasthan desert, perpetually rain-soaked Meghalaya forest, deep ocean trenches, torrential streams, permafrost polar regions, high mountain tops, boiling thermal springs, and stinging compost pits, to name a few. Even our intestine is a unique habitat for hundreds of species of microbes. What are the key elements that lead to so much variation in the physical and chemical conditions of different habitat? The most ones are the temperature, water, light and soil. We must remember that the physico-chemical, that are the abiotic components, alone do not characterize the habitat of an organism completely. The habitat includes biotic components also like pathogens, parasites, predators and competitors of the organism with which they interact constantly. We assume that over a period of time, the organism had, through natural selection, evolved adaptations to optimize its survival and reproduction in its habitat. Now we will discuss about the major abiotic factors. The first one, temperature. Temperature is the most ecologically relevant environmental factor, and the average temperature on land varies seasonally, decreases progressively from the equator towards the poles, and from plains to the mountain tops. It ranges from sub-zero levels in polar areas and high altitudes like above 50 degrees centigrade in tropical deserts in summer. There are, however, unique habitats such as the thermal springs and deep sea hydrothermal events where the average temperature exceeds 100 degrees centigrade. It is general knowledge that mango trees do not and cannot carry in temperate countries like Canada and Germany. Snow leopards are not found in Kerala forest and tuna fish are rarely caught beyond the tropical latitudes in the ocean. You can readily appreciate the significance of temperature to living organisms when you realize that it affects the kinetics of enzymes and through the basal metabolism activity and other physiological functions of the organism. A few organisms can tolerate and thrive in a wide range of temperature. They are called eurythermal, but a most majority of them restricted to a narrow range of temperature that such organisms are called stenothermal. The levels of thermal tolerance of different species determine to large extent their geographical distribution. In recent years, there has been growing concern about the gradually increasing average global temperature. Next abiotic factor, it is the water. Next to the temperature, water is the most important factor influencing the life of organisms. In fact, life on earth originated in water and is unsustainable without water. Its availability is so limited in deserts that only special adaptations make it possible to live there. The productivity and distribution of plants is also heavily dependent on water. The living organisms in the ocean, lakes, and rivers should not face any water related problems, but it is not true for aquatic organisms. The quality, chemical composition, pH level of water becomes important. The salt concentration measured as salinity in parts per thousand is less than 5 in inland waters, 30 to 35 in the sea, and above 100% in some hypersaline lagoons. The organisms are present in the wide range of salinity is called euryhaline, but the others are restricted to the narrow range of salinity is called stenohaline. Many freshwater animals cannot live for long in seawater and vice versa because of the osmotic problems they would face. The third abiotic factor is the light. Since plants produce food through photosynthesis, a process which is only possible when sunlight is available as a source of energy. Now, many species of small plants, herbs, shrubs, and autotrophs growing in the forest are adapted to photosynthesis optimally under very low light conditions because they are constantly overshadowed by tall canopied trees. Many plants are also dependent on sunlight to meet their photoperiodic requirement for flowering. For many animals to light, the important in that they use diurnal and seasonal variations in the light intensity and duration photoperiod as cues for limiting their foraging, reproductive and migratory activities. Sun is the only source for the energy and the light. Next abiotic factor, it is the soil. The nature and properties of soil in different places vary. It is dependent on the climate, the weathering process, whether soil is transported or sedimentary, and how soil development occurred. Various characteristics of the soil, such as soil composition, grain size, and aggregation, determine the percolation and water holding capacity of the soils. These characteristics, along with the parameters such as pH, mineral composition, and topography, determine to a large extent the vegetation in any area. This in turn dictates the type of animals that can be supported. Similarly, in the aquatic environment, the sediment characteristics often determine the type of benthic animals that can thrive there.